Islam. A question was emailed to us regarding the language of Latin. Someone asked us a question. Wasn't the language of Moorish Latin, I'm paraphrasing, wasn't the language that's referred to as Spanish actually considered Moorish Latin? In the studies of Moorish science, the studies of Islamism, or the teachings of Moorish Science Temple of America, you have a lot of what we like to refer to as Moorish mythology. How does Moorish mythology, pop up? Moorish mythology pops up because a lot of the teachings were conveyed from mouth to ear, right? In the process of conveying teachings from mouth to ear, teachings have a tendency to get embellished. People add a little more hot sauce on it, making it a little more exciting than it was actually originally conveyed. It is true that the language that is considered to be Latin was spoken by the Moors. It is true that the Iberian Peninsula, which is presently called Spain, when they got there, they had no in-depth grammatical systems. They had no alphabet of their own. Kings that dwelled there could not even sign their own name because they were illiterate. All of these things are true. And it is true that the Moors were the ones that were responsible for bringing what is known as the 7 liberal arts inside of the Iberian Peninsula, one of which being grammar, another which being rhetoric. And the process out of that, we developed languages, and the language that that developed there by way of the common language that was spoken to the people there, and the Arabic and some of the Hebrew even that infused itself within the language there, eventually developed itself as being called Spanish. Relative to Latin, when you research the sciences of the ancient Moors, you'll notice that your mathematics and astronomy are generally in Arabic, and that your medical terms and your legal terms are generally written in or documented in which one's called Latin. Now, in modern day, because Moors dealt with that Latin, they'll say that, well, instead of just calling it Latin, which people consider it to be a Romance language, they'll call it Moorish Latin. Hence, the Moorish mythology about, in ancient times it was called Moorish Latin. That wasn't the case. It was just Latin. It was a language that the Moors demonstrated by separating the degrees under certain disciplines. Okay, and so hence that language was used. But there's no language called Moorish Latin. It doesn't exist. If Moors choose to demonstrate Latin, then we demonstrate Latin. But there's no actual language called Moorish Latin. It's a part of the Moorish mythos that's been spread throughout the decades since the time of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. But we demonstrated Arabic, we demonstrated Hebrew, we demonstrated Latin, we demonstrated a bunch of languages, even Sanskrit, all the way to India. All right, we even demonstrated Sanskrit. Wherever we could be found doing our civilizing work, we conveyed the language and the people, and we conveyed our thoughts in the language that the people spoke. So that is, the origin or the essence of the concept of Latin versus Moorish Latin. And with that, we say peace.